make my, or does this dress make my boobs look weird? No? Okay. I think I'm just used to waist. Hello, please excuse the sunglasses. It's quite bright out here and I didn't want to be inside anymore because being inside gives me the big sad. So here we are. Today, I am going to be making a book nook. I think this has been something that's been popular for a while, but recently I've been seeing them popping up on YouTube and TikTok and Pinterest, Reddit. Did you know there's a whole subreddit, r/book nooks? It's a magical place, you guys. It's wonderful. So anyways, I decided that I was bored and I wanted to make a hobbit-y book nook. My mom has a old copy of the three main Lord of the Rings books that she's had since she was a kid. And I decided to make a book nook that would kind of fit in with that on her shelf, that hopefully will look like a Hobbit set going from the Hobbit to the Silmarillion with the three in the middle, and then within that look like the Shire. So this is lofty. I probably didn't need to go this lofty for my first ever book nook, but why not? I'm not doing anything else, so I might as well try. So I have all of my materials. I'm going to sit and work outside for as long as I can stand it in the shade because it's very hot out. So I've already designed and had printed book covers and spines of the 5 books that I'm basically going to glue to a balsa wood box that I'm going to make, and then I'm going to put a hobbit hole and sort of shirey landscaping within. So that's the plan. I'm going to start by cutting all of the wood to size, measuring it, cutting it, and I think I'm going to assemble the inside completely and then put it together instead of doing like a ship in the bottle, assembling it within. I think that makes the most sense. I hope that explanation made sense to you. So I bought some like miniature modeling moss. So most of my book nook is going to be moss because it's the Shire, so it's very green. I bought some polymer clay to make details like the door of the hobbit hole, things like that. And then I have my balsa wood sheets for the main structure. And yeah, I think that's everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. First thing I did was collect all of my materials together on the table outside and broke into my balsa wood pack that I had purchased and started measuring all of the pieces to then be cut and assembled. At this point, I wasn't exactly sure what I would actually use to cut the balsa wood, so I decided to go in and use some blue tape just to protect the edges from any rough cuts that may happen. After playing around with a couple of different things, I decided my best bet was just to go with a heavy-duty blade to run along the edge of my ruler and create a really nice straight cut. Okay, so everything is cut for the wood. I wouldn't call my cutting even or clean, but I am planning on covering 100% of the wood, so I am going to call it fine. And I am going to move on, because why not? I need to go get a proper glue I know we have wood glue somewhere, so I'm going to go find that. I'm hoping it's not going to rain. It's in threatening rain for like 3 days and hasn't actually rained. So I was just going with not actually raining, and it does look like rain. So I'm looking it up. No, it is 95 degrees out. And if anyone wonders how sweaty I am, the answer is very, like extremely very, a lot sweaty. But I'll be sad if I go inside. So I'm staying out here and staying, God, never watered. I'm a water. Okay, I watered. And I got myself some Elmer's glue and a beer. So I'm gonna open the beer and figure out what I wanna do next. So, basically, I want my box is going to be 15 by 6 by 9 because the book pieces that I designed and printed are 6 by 9 and the spines that I designed are 3 inches, which I think is a little bit thick for a Lord of the Rings book, but it's fine. I think it'll look really nice to have like those big beefy edges. So I cut all that. Unfortunately, my balsa wood was 10 by 10. I don't know what I was thinking, getting 10 by 10, but it's fine because everything's going to be covered mostly by clay and then eventually by moss and paper and all of that. It's okay that there's going to be seams and stuff. So I think my plan is to take the back piece and the bottom piece and butt them up together and make the majority of my diorama, which is essentially what this is, on those 2 pieces, and then build the box around that. So I'm going to glue them together just using Elmer's glue to basically just get a basic hold seam, and then rely more on the clay that I'm going to use to build out the floor and my actual hobbit hole and things like that, to actually hold those 2 pieces together. So that's what I'm going to do next. So my original plan was to just, there we go. My original plan was just to glue everything and then tape it while the glue dried. But I'm planning on covering everything anyways, and now I don't have to wait for the glue to dry. I can just start working. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go ahead and get to it and start putting stuff on the board. I only have this much air dry clay. So I think I need to figure out something to build the hobbit hole around. And I'm looking at my beer can, which I have not finished, just started. But it looks like it's kind of, if I lay it on its side, would be kind of the right size. So I'm wondering if I can go dig through our recycling and find something, some trash that I can use. Oh, let me tilt that down. So obviously it wouldn't go standing up, it would go laying down. I think there's gotta be a jar or something in our garbage that I can use to build the hobbit hole around so that I don't waste any clay, because I also want to do the ground in clay so that it gets kind of rocky and formed. So I'm gonna go dig through our trash now. You don't have to come with for that. We have success. I found an old kombucha bottle that I finished today. Yes, I had kombucha for breakfast and kombucha beer for dinner. And then a Frosted Mini Shredded Wheats box that I bought and then couldn't eat because my family ate all of it before I did, because I don't really like cereal, but sometimes you just really want Frosted Mini Shredded Wheats. It's okay. So I rinsed out the kombucha bottle. My plan is, let me tilt this back down. Okay, move my actual kombucha beer. Spilling on myself. Okay. I'm gonna lay this down like this, Now, the way that I am going to close this up, it is actually going to be closed up and is going to have, I think I cut this the wrong size. I think I just realized that I cut it the wrong size. It was supposed to be 9 inches tall and I cut it 6 inches tall. So that's wrong. I can fix this because I didn't get rid of any wood. It's just gonna be more seams. Okay, it's bad, but it's not that bad. God. Okay, it's fine. It's gonna be fine, you guys. I'll worry about that later. Anyways. So I'm going to put a back, this is the side of the books, and then I'm gonna put a front, and I'm gonna like cut out the front so you can sort of peek in, but it's going to look like this is inside a collection of J.R.R. Tolkien books. I hope that makes sense. It does in my brain. So this is gonna be like the hobbit hole, and then I'm going to cut a front, because the front, I have to pop this back up. The front of the hobbit hole is like flat, where the back is like that sort of domed, built into the Shire type thing. So I'm going to cut out a flat, like a hobbit hole, and tape that, or like glue it on, and then surround that in clay, and then eventually moss, and that will be my main structure. For fixing, so it's the back and the front that I cut the wrong shapes. I do still have all of my extra pieces, which I may, in the back I can just layer because you won't see the back. In the front I will probably have to butt because you will see the front and it's supposed to look like books. But I am planning on covering the whole front in clay so it has a ridged appearance like books do. So for right now, I think I'm just gonna focus on the hobbit hole part and then come back to this, because I think what I'll end up doing is laying this down once the sort of floor and hobbit hole are finished, and then I can glue this properly, get it all adhered, and then do the backdrop. Which I'm not 100% sure what I want to do yet. I don't think I want to put like a sky, because I don't think it'll, like I don't think I want to paint it blue and call it the sky, because I don't know if the horizon will look like correct. I haven't 100% decided, so we'll get to that when we get to it. So we're still ignoring my poor cutting, and we'll fix that later. The hobbit hole like structure is started, so you can see my garbage and then some more garbage, and I'm gonna fill it in with even more garbage. I'm going to put this paper bag in here, and then the like aluminum that used to hold my clay is gonna round it out here. I'm just gonna hot glue all that together. Good Lord, I am sunburned. And then I'm going to cover this in moss. I'm planning on making the front of the hobbit hole out of polymer clay. So I still have the negative of my box that I can use as a template for this. And then I can bake that off and attach that once this is dry. So I'm feeling good. It's raining. And I'm outside. God damn it. It's raining! It's raining! It's raining! So, it's been a couple days since it rained on me. I think like 4 days? 4 days, man?
What?
It's been like 4 days since it rained on my hobbit hole.
Yes.
Yeah, and I gave up for a bit because that was overwhelming and frustrating. And I'm finally back at it today, and every time I start working, one of my neighbors does incredibly loud yard work around me. And I'm just trying to be productive because I go back to work next week and I'm not gonna have as much time. I'm overwhelmed, but it's okay because I'm just gonna work on my hobbit hole. It's fine. So I did manage to finish the clay facade. Oh, hello, Toulouse.
I was trying to distract him so he didn't do that.
It's fine. Okay, so I finished my clay, oh, butthole. Just straight butthole. Oh, so I finished the clay, I'm just gonna tuck around. People on the internet like cats. I finished the clay facade of, Jesus Christ, of my hobbit hole, and I baked it off and everything. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to attach it to the hole itself. So I finished the clay facade of my hobbit hole, and I am going to attach that onto the front of my, oh good, Cody's home. He's gonna interrupt again. And then I am going to finish building the box, fix the box where I screwed it up, and then put the ground on, and then consider lighting, because it's going to be pretty dark inside the hobbit hole once I put the front face on, and I want to figure out how I'm going to do that. But for now, I'm just going to get the clay on and continue. I had baked off the facade in one big piece, knowing that it didn't really need to be super structurally secure since it would just be glued straight on to my main structure, and that actually worked out really well. So next I fixed the bit where I had cut completely wrong, basically by adding scrap wood to the back. I decided to overlap it so it had a little bit more room for adjustment, and then double checked it against the pieces of paper that I had printed, and then glued the whole thing together. After the entire interior was covered in moss, I then had to fix the original screw-up I made with the front of the facade. So I recut all of the pieces and glued them together using hot glue so they'd be glued flush. Next, I glued the spines that I designed and had printed on top of some foam that I used to disguise the seams in my wood. I then went in with that same foam and created dividers to go between the books as if they were in one box that had 5 spines dividing it, if that makes any sense. Then I attached that front facade with that hole cut out so that you can actually see the hobbit hole through the book spines, and continued to add those decorative spines on the corners and then on the back. Last, I went in and painted everything to make it look nice and cohesive. I did end up adding lighting, but I did that on my own time because it didn't look great. So much for watching. I am super happy with how the book nook turned out. I don't, like, technically it is a miniature, but book nooks tend to be a lot smaller than this. It just kind of kept growing as I was designing it, but I'm still really happy with it. I think that it fits really well on the bookshelf that I put it on, and I think going any smaller for my first time really making a diorama like this from scratch could have gone really poorly. So having a little bit more room to work with ended up being really nice. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. If you guys like this, please do like and subscribe down below. I am still, longing to hear where you guys found me, so comment that down in the description or down in the comments below. Hurley's yelling at me. My mom's dog is yelling at me to let him inside, so I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a lovely day. Bye.